Yeah, okay. Okay, then we'll go ahead. Okay, okay. Thank you. Can you able to hear me? Everyone, can you able to hear me? Okay, okay then. Okay then. Good. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's start. Let us start. Yeah, guys, we'll start. Thank you. We'll go ahead now. Yeah, this is where we started. So we started off our discussion with the concept of JPA relationships. So now in this, so we start our discussion with one to many. Okay, right? Let's see now how we can provide one to many relationship. Okay, let's go ahead. That's good. Okay, guys. So here, our intention is we want to define one to many association between category and products. Okay. Our requirement is we want to define one to many relationship. Actually, this relationship leads to understand about other relationships also, like many to one, many to many, and one to one. Okay. Basically, requirement is suppose if I perform any CRUD operation on category, then I would like to propagate that operation onto the related products. Correct? So if that is your requirement, then we can go ahead with the one to many relationship. Now we can say that category is the source entity, product is the target entity, because application want to perform an operation on category, application want to propagate that operation onto product. So the association between the category and product is one to many. Let's go ahead. So what's the requirement here? I'm writing. Okay, what's the requirement here? Requirement is, okay, when a CRUD operation, okay, when a CRUD operation is performed, right? When a CRUD operation is performed on category, okay, we would like to, okay, we would like to perform or propagate, better word. We like to propagate that operation onto the product. Okay, so that is a requirement. Propagate that operation onto the product is a requirement. So solution is what? Solution is apply one-to-many relation between one-to-many relationship between category and products. Got it? Apply one-to-many relationship between category and products. That's a solution. What does it mean now? One category is associated with a group of products. Group of products, I mean collection of products. Right? So this is a way. Now we can say that here the source of the operations is category and target of the operations is product. Okay. So here, okay, source of operations is category and the target of the operations is product. Okay. Source of the operations is category and target of the operations is product. Now let's see how we can define one-to-many relationship. See, thing is, whenever we are defining one-to-many relationship, I repeat. So whenever we are defining one-to-many relationship between a category and products or between a source entity and a target entity, in the source entity class, we need to create a collection reference variable. Because if I want to provide a relationship or association between the source and the target entities, we can say, for example, one category. We want to provide association as what? Association means relationship. What is the relationship we want to provide? One category has multiple products. So how can I provide has a relation between a category and multiple products is I need a collection. Because if it is a collection object, then we can store multiple objects in a collection object. So basically, if I have a category, we can say category has a collection of products. Right? Category has a collection of products or a group of products. This is the way how we can define one-to-many. So whenever you want to define one-to-many relationship, then what? In the source entity class, you need to create a reference variable of type target. You have to create a reference variable of type collection. That collection can be a list, or you can use even set, or even we can also use map collection. Any one of the three, list, set, or map. Anyone we can use. Basically, why we need collection reference variable? To store the products belongs to a category. So how can I store? How can I attach, or how can I store, or how can I provide has a relation between one category and multiple products? Directly, I cannot provide has a relation between category and a product. If I provide direct has a relationship, this becomes one-to-one. Right? But our requirement is what? One-to-many. So to provide one-to-many relationship between the category and products, what should I do? I should add or I should store a group of products to the collection. Now we can say category has a collection of products. So let's see how we can do that. That field is called one-to-many field, or we can say one-to-many property. Okay, our requirement is what? We want to create a category entity. Sure. How do I create a category entity? Let us see. Observe here. Suppose I'm writing like this now. You can understand it easily. I'm writing here. My requirement is what? I want to create a category entity. I'm writing like this now. @entity, @table. Okay. So what is the table name? Table name equal to TBL underscore categories. At the rate entity. What next? At the rate table. What's the table name? TBL underscore categories. Name of the table. My class name is category entity. ID. Column. Okay. Column. Column name is category ID. Category underscore ID. So private. Integer. Category ID. Next one, at the rate column. Name equal to category underscore name. Private. String. Category under category name. Now, if you look at these two are is very simple. As per our table, whatever I gave here, there is a category ID, primary key, there is a category name. But now I am creating one collection reference variable. You can see private. You have to create like this now. List of products. Or you can take any reference variable, your choice. Products. Okay, if you look at this, what I'm trying to say is, okay, what I'm trying to say is now, I'll write here once again. Private list of product. You need a collection products, or take any other reference variable, LST of products or something like that. It's a list of products. LST of products. For example, I want a reference variable name like this. Okay. So why I'm creating this reference variable? This is what you need to understand. This is a collection variable. Why this collection variable is required? Because one category has many items. Nothing but one category has many products. So how can I provide a relationship between one category with many products? By creating a collection. By creating a collection. If I add 5 objects to this collection, then we can say that one category has an association with 5 products. If I add 10 objects to the collection, then one category has association with 10 products. Now this is called what? One to many. So whenever you want to provide one to many relationship, you need what? A reference variable of what? Collection. So here this field is called, or this property is called one to many property. Means this property we have created in this class to define one to many relationship. So it is called one to many field, or we can call it as one to many property. So there is an annotation called at the rate one to many. So there is an annotation called at the rate one to many. Basically, right? Or the annotation at the rate one to many. Now I'll explain. There are different attributes are there. So I'll explain about them. There is an annotation called at the rate one to many. Why I'm writing at the rate one to many? This is called one to many property. To declare that it's a one to many property. Who is a target entity of this one to many? Product. Product is a target. Source is category. Product is a target. One to many. This is one to many. Now, with this one to many, with this association or relationship, what operations you want to cascade? Cascade, I mean propagate. For example, if I'm inserting a category, a new category in the database, I would like to insert all the products of the category also. And whenever I delete a category from database, I would like to delete all the products of that category. Because without a category, product does not exist. We can say that what now? What operations you want to propagate? that you need to tell, that you need to configure by using an attribute called cascade. So one-to-many annotation comes with an attribute called cascade. That cascade attribute tells what operations that you want to cascade onto the target entities. So that you can specify by using cascade attribute. So at the rate one-to-many, what I'm writing here, cascade equal to cascade type dot all. I'm writing like this, cascade type dot all. Okay, actually cascade is an attribute. In the annotation one-to-many, there is an attribute called cascade. What a cascade attribute tells? Cascade attribute represents what? The operations that you want to propagate to the associated target entity. The associated target, associated collection here. This is a collection of target entities now, right? So cascade equal to, I'm writing cascade type dot all. Here all meaning performing insert, update and delete. If I perform insert operation category, I want to propagate it on the collection of the category. Category has a collection. If I delete the category, then I want to delete its associated collection. What that collection contains? Products. Nothing but what? This cascade attribute tells what operations you want to cascade onto the target entity. Who is a target entity here? Product entity. I have to write here product entity. The class name I want to take product entity. Right? So what is my requirement? My requirement is whenever I perform insert or update or delete operation on source. Source is what? Category. Then I want to propagate that operation onto the product also. Nothing but its target also. So who is the target object of this association? Product. That's what the meaning of cascade type dot all. If I write cascade type dot persist, which means I only want to propagate insert operation. Means what? When I insert category, I want to insert the product objects also. Only persisting, but not updating or but not deleting. If I write cascade type dot remove, then only delete operation, but I don't want to propagate. I do not want to propagate insert or delete operations. Update operations. If I write cascade type dot merge, merge means update. Only update operation, but not insert or delete. Like this. If I write all, then inserting, updating and deleting. These three comes under all. Cascade type dot all. We should write like this. What cascade attribute in one-to-many annotation represents? The operations that are to be cascaded or propagated onto the target objects. Okay, target objects. Okay, right here. So I'm writing all simply. In this statement, cascade type is called one enum. So in Java, we have enum classes. This is called enumeration type. And it has a set of constants. All is one constant. Persist, remove, merge, detach, and refresh. There are 5 constants in this cascade type. Cascade type is one enum. Enum means it is an enumeration type. Enumeration types are created to represent a fixed set of constants. Then we go for enumeration types. Enumeration types are mostly created. Enum types are created in Java to represent a fixed set of constants. To represent a set of constants we have enum types. So cascade type is one enum. Okay, it has 5 constants. Okay, so I'm writing currently cascade is equal to cascade type dot all. If I want only persist and refresh, for example, then I can start curly brace. This is value 1. It's an array. Cascade type dot refresh persist, comma, cascade type dot refresh. Cascade type dot persist, comma, cascade type dot refresh. Like this. I can able to write like this. Cascade type dot persist, comma, cascade type dot refresh. Are you clear? 2 values only I want to add. Then I can start in curly brace. So cascade is an attribute of this annotation. What's the annotation name? At the rate one to many. Okay, I'll write all these things now. Presently, what I'm writing, cascade type dot all. Cascade type dot all. Now, there is a next annotation. The next annotation you have to understand, at the rate join column. Now, this is to represent the joining column of the relationship. Always joining column is, who is the joining column to provide the relationship between the tables? Foreign key. So join column is to represent foreign key. So there is an attribute called name. Name means name of the joining column. Name of the joining column means foreign key column. Who is a foreign key column? Category underscore ID underscore FK. So what I'm writing here, category underscore ID underscore FK. This is the name of the joining column. Referenced column name, one more attribute is there. Referenced column name means the primary key column referred by the foreign key. You know, foreign key refers primary key, right? Foreign key is there in child table. It refers the primary key in parent table, right? So what's the next attribute? Referenced column name. Referenced column name equal to category underscore ID. This referenced column name is optional. If you want, you can write, otherwise you can leave it. But name is mandatory. Join column annotation is given to specify or is to represent the foreign key, name of the foreign key column. What is my foreign key column name? Category underscore ID underscore FK. Referenced column name is equal to what? Category underscore ID. That's all. Now this is my category entity. 2 new annotations observed here. I'll write the 2 annotations description next. For the next entity class I want to create is product entity. Okay, this is what column? Foreign key. Foreign key means joining column. What are the other properties? Product ID and product name. So I have to create the next entity class like this now. At the rate entity, at the rate table. Table name is equal to TBL underscore products. Public class. What's the class name? Product entity. At the rate ID. At the rate column. Column name equal to product underscore ID. My variable name is private integer product ID. Next, at the rate column, name equal to product name. Okay. Then I'm writing private string product name. That's all. Of course, setters, getters, constructor, they will come. I'm not writing them. But if you look at this now, there are 2 entity classes are there with me. This is the first entity class I have with me. I have first entity class like this with me. Then I have a second entity class like this with me. In the second entity class, if you observe, okay, we are not writing or we are not creating a property to map with the foreign key. Actually, the table has 3 columns, right? The table has how many columns here? 3 columns. But here I am writing only 2 variables to map with the 2 columns. But I am not writing any variable to map with the third column. Why? It is the foreign key column. It is a foreign key, right? This foreign key is called as what column? Join column. Already we have used annotation called @join column to represent the foreign key. So that's the reason why only how many variables are required in this entity class? 2 variables are required. One is product ID. Second one is product name. That's all. That's all. And we don't require a collection here because we are providing one-to-many association from category to products. From one category to many products. The association is one-to-many from category to products. So if this is a requirement, we need collection reference variable in the source entity class. Who is the source entity class here? Source of the operations is what category? So in the category entity class, we need a collection variable. Why we need a collection variable? To store the multiple products. For a category, we store multiple products. Na? So that's the reason why we require here. That's the reason why we want to write here. Correct? But whereas in case of this one, we don't want any collection variable. Okay. So now let us understand the remaining attributes also. But first of all, whenever you want to provide, when you want to provide one-to-many relationship, whenever we provide one-to-many relationship, or whenever you want to provide a one-to-many relationship between a source entity and a target entity, first in the source entity class, you have to create a collection reference variable. You need to create a reference variable. Which type of reference variable? Of type collection. That collection can be a list or set or map, but it's a collection only, na? So we need a reference variable of type collection in the source entity class. In the source entity class. Who is the source here? Category is a source, right? And who is a target here? Product is a target. We want to provide what kind of association? One-to-many association between source and target. Source and target, right? Whenever you want to provide one-to-many relationship, you need to create a reference variable of type collection in the source entity class, right? Source entity class, right? And this collection variable is called what? One-to-many field is called one-to-many field. What's the annotation? @one-to-many. @one-to-many. And what's the use of @join column? Join column is to provide foreign key of the relationship. Relationship is one-to-many, but to provide one-to-many relationship or many-to-one or many-to-many or one-to-one, any relationship, foreign key column is required. So join column annotation is to specify foreign key of the relationship. Okay. What's the foreign key column name? Category ID FK. Referenced column name means what? Primary key. Referenced column name is the primary key referred by the foreign key. So you know what is the primary key column referred by the foreign key column? Category underscore ID. Because understand the tables here. This is foreign key. This foreign key refers what? This primary key. Primary key in the which table? Parent table. This table is called child table. This table is called parent table. This is a foreign key. The foreign key column refers primary key. Primary key of the same table or parent table? Parent table. So who is a parent table primary key column? Category underscore ID. So reference to column name is category underscore ID. Right? Okay. What are the 2 new annotations you have observed here? @one-to-many. Next one is @join column. Let me write here. See, the point which I want to include here is, okay, to provide one-to-many relationship. relationship. What is required, I'll tell you. To provide one-to-many relationship, what should I do? Create a reference variable. Create a reference variable of type collection. Collection means it can be the list or set or even map also. Anyone we can use. Create a reference variable of type collection in the which class? Source entity class. In the source entity class. Sir, to provide one-to-many relationship, create a reference variable of type collection like a list or a set or a map in the source entity class. Are you clear? Very good. In the source entity class, you have to create this. Who is our source entity class in our example? Category. Category. Right. Okay. Use @one-to-many annotation to represent the relationship as one-to-many. To represent that reference variable. To represent that reference variable as a one-to-many field. That reference variable as a one-to-many field. Okay. One-to-many field. It is a one more point to you. Next, use @join column. Use @join column. What's the purpose of join column? @join column annotation to represent the foreign key. To represent the foreign key. Foreign key column is join column. To represent the foreign key. To represent the foreign key. Okay. Now, for example, if you take @one-to-many, so @one-to-many annotation has, okay, @one-to-many has annotation has attributes like cascade. Cascade. Right? It has attributes like cascade. @one-to-many annotation has attributes like what? Cascade. So what cascade attribute tells? Cascade attribute, basically cascade attribute used to, okay, operations to be cascaded. It represents the operations to be cascaded onto the target entity. Onto the target objects or target entity, whatever it is, okay? Onto the target entities. That's what cascade. Cascade attribute is of type cascade type. Cascade type is one enum. Okay. So cascade represents what? The operations. What cascade represents? The operations that are to be propagated or cascaded, any word we can use, that are to be propagated to the associated target entities. Okay, associated target entities. That's what meaning of cascade. Cascade element is of type cascade type. Cascade is an element in annotation. Its a type is cascade type. Cascade type is one enum. It is one enumeration type in Java. Okay, right? That enum has constants. 5 constants are there in cascade type. So what I'm writing here, cascade represents the operations to be propagated onto the onto the target objects. the operations will be propagated onto the target object. That is represented with cascade attribute. Okay. And it is an attribute of, it is an attribute of enum type. It is an attribute of enum type called cascade type. An attribute of enum type called cascade type. Cascade type. Okay. Cascade type is one enum type. Cascade type is one enum type. Okay. What an enum type contains? Enum type means enumeration type. What this enumeration type, enum type contains? Enum type contains group of constants. A group of constants, we can create them as one enum type. Okay, cascade type is also one enum type. It has constants. How many constants it has? 5 constants are there. Okay, 5 constants are there. Let me write. Now what I'm saying? Okay, this cascade type enum. This is a cascade type enum. This cascade type enum has 5 constants. Has 5 constants. All persist. They are constants now, so must be in uppercase. All persist, remove, merge, refresh, lastly detach. What is it? Detach. All persist, remove, merge means insert, update, delete. Next one is refresh. Whenever you refresh a category, its associated products are also refresh. Refresh means what? Getting the changes from database if any changes are made. That is what meaning of refresh. Okay. For example, I'm selecting category from table. What happens with the category? The products of the category also selected. Okay, but after some time, if any changes are made in database, whenever you say refresh, what happens? All the changes are also be loaded from database if there are any changes. If no changes are there, no changes are loaded from database. If there are any changes, changes are loaded from the database. That's what the meaning of refresh. Refresh means syncing with the database changes. That's called refreshing. Next one is what? Detach. As you know, whenever you detach an entity, detaching means what? Detaching means disconnecting from entity manager in JPA terms, right? We know that persistent state, transient state, persistent state, and detached state. When an entity goes to detached state, and an object goes to, entity means object here. When an object goes to detached state in JPA, when that object is disconnected with entity manager, if it goes out of the entity manager scope, then it is called detached state. For example, in our case, if a category is detached, if a category is detached from entity manager, then what happens automatically? The products of that category also detached from the entity manager. That's what the meaning of detach. All means all of these. Means persist, remove, merge, refresh plus detach is commonly called what? All. So totally 6 constants are there. All is representation of remaining 5. I have tried 6 now. It has totally 6 constants. Okay. Next. Okay, this enum has 6 constants, all, persist, remove, merge, refresh, and what? Detach. Next one. Fetch. There is one more attribute is there. What's the attribute name? Fetch. Fetch. Okay. So what is fetch attribute? See, my requirement I'll tell you. For example, I am selecting category object from database. While selecting the category object, we know that this category has an association with multiple products. But when I'm selecting the category from database, I only want to select the category object, but I don't want to select the products of the category. Which means what? I only want to select the source object, but I don't want to select associated target objects. Associated target objects I don't want to select. Means what? I only want to select the category details, but I do not want to select the products details of that category. Then I should use fetch type lazy. Means I should set the fetch type for the associated collection is lazy. Means what? Associated collection of the category should be loaded lazily, not eager. If I say fetch type eager, then whenever I select a category, my requirement is what? I would like to select the products of that category also into my application from the database. Then I should set fetch type eager. So fetch type lazy means the associated target objects are lazily loaded. Eager means early loaded. What does it mean? When I select a category object from database, then the associated product objects of the category are not loaded from database when fetch type is lazy. Fetch type is eager. The product objects are also loaded from database along with category object. That's called fetch type eager. So how can you set the fetch type? By using this attribute. What's the attribute name? Fetch. The default fetch type is lazy. But the default fetch type lazy. What is the meaning of default fetch type lazy? What does it mean? What do you mean by default fetch type as lazy? When I'm selecting a category object, while selecting the category object from database, means while loading a category from database, the associated products are not loaded from DB. They are later loaded, but not immediately loaded. Whenever we want them, then they are loaded. But along with the category, the products are not loaded. That is default fetch type lazy. If you say fetch type eager, then if you set like that, while loading a category from database, its products are also loaded. That's what the meaning of eager loading. Default fetch type is lazy. Fetch type also an enum. This fetch is an attribute of enum type that has 2 constants only. One is eager, second one is lazy. So means what fetch in represents? I repeat. Guys, I repeat. Are you getting the point what I'm telling? Guys, what I'm telling, are you getting right in chat box now? Have you understood about so far what we discussed? Right in the chat box, guys. Represents the associated collection is to be lazily loaded or early loaded. the associated collection is to be lazily loaded or early loaded. Okay, that is what fetch attribute represents. Yeah. The second attribute I'm explaining now. First attribute is cascade. Second attribute is fetch. Attributes we can write in any order. When you are writing an annotation, in annotation there can be multiple attributes. And while writing the name attributes, you don't have any order. One attribute we can write first, one attribute we can write next. Attributes we can write in any order. Commonly applicable even in HTML also. If you take HTML, one tag you take. For example, in HTML, you have a form tag. Form tag has various attributes. You have ID attribute, action attribute, method attribute, name attribute, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any specific order? ID followed by name, followed by action, followed by something. You don't have like that, na, followed by method, no, right? We cannot any order, na. When you take any element in HTML tags, if you take attributes in the tag, we can write in any order. In annotation also, attributes we can write in any order. Sorry. In one-to-many annotation also, cascade is one attribute, fetch is another attribute. We can write the attributes in any order. There are two more attributes are also there, but I'm not right. Currently, I'm not explaining them. Next, I'll explain. Currently, I'm explaining two attributes. Remaining two I'll explain later. Totally, how many attributes are there? 4 attributes are there in one-to-many annotation. 4 attributes are there. Okay, 4 attributes are there. 2 we are discussing now. Because for our first example, one-to-many, 2 attributes are enough. For the next upcoming examples, 2 more attributes also required. Okay. Now, my point, what I want right here, I am writing something like this, guys. What I'm writing represents the associated collection is to be lazily loaded from database or early load from database. Okay. Now, this attribute is an enum type called fetch type. Called fetch type. This attribute is an enum type called fetch type. Next, the default value. Okay. So the default fetch type is the default fetch type in one-to-many. The default fetch type in one-to-many is lazy. Lazy. Okay, right? The only two constants. The only two constants are lazy and eager. Okay, lazy and eager. Guys, the only two constants are lazy and eager. Lazy means the associated collection of a category in our example will be lazily loaded. Eager means the associated collection of products will be early loaded with category only. Along with the category, its related products are also loaded. That is early. Lazy means along with the category, the related products are not loaded from the database. They are later loaded, but not immediately. That's what the meaning of lazy. Lazy. Correct. Okay. Next. What is the other annotation? Join column. @ join column. Okay. @ join column has attributes. annotation has attributes. What are the attributes? As attributes like, what are the attributes here? One is name. Name. What name represents? Name represents the foreign key column name. Referenced column name. What is the referenced column represents what? Represents the primary key. Represent the primary key referred by the foreign key. Primary key referred by the foreign key. That's what referenced column name. Got my point? First one is name. Next one is referenced column name. These are the two more attributes of the join column annotation.